Okay, maybe in English, but my English isn't brilliant, so sorry. My name is Iga Dzieciuchowicz. I'm from Polish newspaper Gazeta Wyborcza. I'm a journalist, so thank you for sharing your stories. I think it's very important to talk about this problem. In Poland, this problem is very common, and drugs are very cheap. And in the past, our problem concerned only some environments, and today every fourth Polish elementary school student had contact with the drugs. And I think 20 years ago, we have many social campaigns which were about the drugs, but now it's a very big silence in Poland. So thank you for this meeting, and I think I will try describe the stories the best I can. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So,
And
po polsku.
Po polsku prosimy, tak. Mamy polskie uczestniczki.
Tak, dzień dobry. Tutaj Iga Dzieciuchowicz z Gazety Wyborczej. Ja jestem reporterką dużego formatu i bardzo się cieszę, że mogę tutaj z Wami być. Bardzo dziękuję za zaproszenie. Chciałabym powiedzieć, że 12 lat temu jako pierwsza dziennikarka w Polsce napisałam o dopalaczach, które wtedy się pojawiły w naszym kraju. I wtedy wydawało się, że ten problem bardzo szybko zniknie, ale okazało się, że jakby wciąż ten problem istnieje i bardzo się mało w naszym kraju o nim mówi. To znaczy nawet przygotowując się teraz do tego spotkania, szukałam informacji na temat jakichkolwiek kampanii w szkołach przeciwnarkotykowych i okazało się, że jest ich bardzo niewiele. Ten problem w ogóle nie jest w mediach nagłaśniany, dlatego bardzo chciałabym, żeby oczywiście osoby, które chciałyby opowiedzieć mi swoje historie, to ja oczywiście zapraszam na takie indywidualne rozmowy. Teraz wysłucham Państwa opowieści i też innych uczestników, ale myślę, że to bardzo ważne, żebyśmy wrócili i zaczęli jeszcze raz szeroko ten problem opisywać, bo wydaje mi się, że w polskich mediach zostawią. Dziękuję.
Dziękujemy. Andrea?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm also a journalist. I work for the Globe and Mail newspaper in Canada. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm here primarily just as an observer. I'm always interested in hearing from the families who have been affected by this. I report mostly on substance use and mental health and drug policy, focusing on Canada, but I'm always looking at what's happening elsewhere in the world as well. It's a lot of the same issues that we see everywhere. And I'm always open to what you feel media can and should be doing better. So if there are any comments for media specifically, I would be happy to hear those as well. Thank you so much for the invitation.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
So, Sabine, fängst du jetzt mal an?
Okay, good.
Ich werde jetzt die Kerzen anzünden und du bist alle zum Anzünden.
Okay. Hi everybody. Guten Abend, herzlich willkommen aus Wien. I'm a little bit nervous because first time and my English isn't that good, but I will try that you can understand everything I'm saying. I will change between German and English. So yeah. Let's try to start. First of all, may I ask you all to light up a candle for our beloved ones and remember them. Okay. Good evening. Good chwil. I hope it's right. Dobry wieczór. Sehr gut. Okay. Liebe violette Gemeinschaft, ich spreche zu euch als Mitglied von Purple Wing. Ich spreche als Purple Mother. Doro Götterer hatte die Idee zur Gründung, ein violetter Flügel, der viele Federn braucht, aber auch einen zweiten Flügel, um sich erheben zu können zu unseren geliebten Engeln. zu fliegen. Ich bin stolz, dass ich dieser zweite Teil sein darf, und Dora hat mir geholfen und gezeigt, dass ich nicht alleine bin. Sie war oder sie ist wie eine Schwester, die ich nie hatte, ehrlich, immer da und wenn man sie braucht, voll Liebe im Herzen. Und sie ist vor allem eine unglaublich starke und gute Mutter, und ich weiß, dass ihr Alex sicher sehr stolz ist auf sie. Violett ist unsere Farbe, unser Leben. Es ist ein Zeichen für all den Schmerz, die unsagbare Wut über den sinnlosen Tod unserer liebsten Menschen. Purple Mother zu sein bedeutet, uns wurde ein Kind entrissen und vom Drogentod verschlungen. Es bedeutet, wir haben Gräber dort, wo keine sein sollten. Unsere Kinder hatten nicht die Chance auf ein glückliches, erfülltes Leben. Es ist der traurigste Anlass der Welt, ein Meeting abzuhalten. Nichts ist schlimmer als der Verlust eines geliebten Menschen. Dieses Zusammentreffen ist enorm wichtig, denn für uns Betroffene gibt es neben unseren schlimmen Erfahrungen nur noch eines, das noch schlimmer ist: das Gefühl, mit alledem allein zu sein. Alleine mit dem Schmerz, der Wut, den Fragen und den Stigmatisierungen. Dem wollen wir heute ein Ende setzen. Wir wollen das Schweigen brechen und wir wollen unseren Kindern die ihnen gebührende Ehre erweisen. Wir reden über Menschen, keine Süchtigen, keine Junkies, keine Kriminellen. Wir wollen uns nicht schämen und die Augen senken und uns verstecken, wenn wir mit vorgehaltener Hand über uns geredet wird. Wir haben eine Kerze entzündet, ein Licht, das um die Welt gehen soll, als Zeichen, dass wir nicht still sein werden. Nie wieder. Wir wollen etwas tun und wachsen mit jeder Aktion. Es gibt noch so viel zu tun. Wir suchen neue und unkonventionelle Wege, um die Jugendlichen anzusprechen, weil die jetzigen Mittel bei uns nicht reichen, um alle zu erreichen und weil die einfach nicht präsent sind. Wir wollen auch Angehörige unterstützen, denn sie sollen nicht allein gelassen werden. Wenn man behauptet, dass die meisten Betroffenen selbst erwachsen sind und man nichts tun kann. Das ist kein Fall. Okay, let's try in English. Dear Purple community, I speak to you as a member of Purple Wing. I speak as a Purple mother. Dora Götterer had the idea of founding Purple Wing. A Purple Wing needs many feathers, but also a second wing to be able to rise and fly to our beloved angels, to be close to them. I'm proud to be that second part. Dora has helped me, shown me that I'm not alone. She is like a sister I never had. Honest, always there when I need her, and full of love in her heart. She is incredibly strong, and she's a mother, and I know Alex is very proud of his mom. Violet is our color, our life. It's our symbol for all the pain, the loss, and the unspeakable anger over the senseless death of our loved ones. To be a Purple mother means a child was torn away from us and devoured by a drug death. It means we have graves where there shouldn't be graves. Our children didn't have the chance of a fulfilled, happy life. It's the saddest reason of the world to hold a meeting. Nothing is worse than the loss of a child, a loved one. This meeting is extremely important because besides of our bad experience, there is only one thing that's even worse: the feeling of being alone with all of this. Alone with the pain, alone with the anger, the questions, and the stigmatizations. Today, we want to put an end to this. We want to start breaking the silence, and we do our children the honor that they deserve. We talk about people, no addicts, no junkies, no criminals. We don't want to be ashamed and lower our eyes and hide when people are talking about us in whispers. We lit a candle, a light that should go around the world, a sign that we will not be silent, never again. We want to do something. We will grow with every event, with every single statement. There is still so much to do. Wherever possible, we fight against stigmata, and we won't let it get us down. I miss my son. Every day, every minute, every second, every morning, I relive the horror of that day, of the day that changed my whole life. But every day also shows me that I have to keep going. For me, for my other 4 children, and for all those who still have a chance. Some days I'm full of anger and rage. I want to scream and blame somebody. I look for faults. I blame myself. I blame everyone else. I go back in time thinking over and over what would have happened if, but I can't change it, no matter what I do. The worst thing is that my son's death is quietly accepted. No one screams and throws up their hands when you tell them you found your child dead, trying to revive him, and you lost the fight against the drug. Everyone shrugs their shoulders in sympathy and says, yeah, that's what happens to people like that sometimes. But I do. I scream and I throw up my arms for people like that, because every life lost to drugs is one too much, and each one is worth the same. The hole in my heart will never stop bleeding. The hope that my son will walk in the door and I had just a fucking nightmare will always live in my soul. I promised him that his death won't be senseless, and I never will let him be forgotten. I will do something possible, everything possible, not to let anything or anyone stop me from fighting his fate. My son had no chance because the hospital, the doctors failed, because there was a lack of information, because people are silent, even though they knew in which situation my child was. That time I knew nothing about opiates, overdose, and prevention. Just like many still don't know anything about it. That needs to be changed. We want to open people's eyes, show deficits, and attract attention. Only those who know the danger can do something against it. Anyone who is infected with this virus called addiction has a right to be helped. Addiction is nothing else than a vicious, deadly disease. Let's find ways to fight addiction so that people really have a free decisions and a chance to live. Let's save lives together. Thanks for listening. I pass on to Helen, please. Helen.
Thank you, Sabine. Very beautiful, and we all relate to it. So from Mom Stop the Harm, I want to welcome everyone from Purple Wing and the members from Mom Stop the Harm. There's an invisible thread that connects us. We all suffer this great loss, and we work together for that common cause. We want our cries to be heard around the world, and overdose, and all the stigma and shame associated with it. As one, sister warriors, we are very powerful. Together, let us unleash this power and end overdose. I work for my sons, no longer with me, Ryan and Tyler, and I welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now,
Thank you very much.
Leslie? Leslie?
You're mute now.
Where is Leslie? Oh.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thanks.
Hi, Leslie.
Thank you. And I'm so grateful and honored to be in the company of all these sisters, and I see one brother. I'm grateful to have connected with you. It is very important that we stretch across the miles. I lost my only son, Jordan, in 2014 from an opioid drug overdose of prescription medications. He was only 25 years old. That began a nightmare of grief, guilt, longing, and also a long period of disbelief. How could this have happened? Sometimes I still stand in the middle of a room and whisper, I can't believe he's gone. As you will hear from Petra, we met each other through a newspaper article she was in. And though more than 1,000 kilometers apart, she and I and Lorna Thomas, all having lost our sons to drug harms, created the organization Moms Stop the Harm. We now have about 1,600 members across Canada. Almost 7 years later, my grief has softened, but I cry for my son almost every day. There is no pain as deep as losing a child, although losing any loved one brings so much pain. We have turned this pain into fighting for change in government policies to save the lives of people who use drugs. We have the ear of our governments on many levels, and we have seen some changes. The public here is beginning to have an awareness that it is not only the people we see on the streets who use drugs, but it can be anyone's child. In Canada, we have lost over 18,000 people to drug toxicity and overdose in just 4 years. Grief spreads across the land. We are working hard every day to promote harm reduction, including safe drugs, naloxone, evidence-based treatment, and decriminalization of people who possess drugs for their own use. We will fight until we win. We include you in our fight. In any way that we can help you get the message out to your countries and to your governments, we will. We have where I live in Canada, we have the situation, we are the most progressive province in the country. So we have wisdom and progress that others don't have. So we are so willing to share that with you and help save lives in the countries that you're in. Thanks so much for being here. This is really a unique and amazing experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. So, yes. Petra?
Yep, thank you, Leslie. Leslie's my sister in arms in Mom Stop the Harm, as are many others that are here today. I too will, I'm coming to you from Germany right now. I'm living in Germany at the moment, but normally I'm at home in Canada, and I will tell part of the story in German and part in English. And of course, you can read the full story in the PDF that Doro has provided. Ich werde erst anfangen in Deutsch und dann auf Englisch weiter die Geschichte von meinem Sohn erzählen und was ich mache. Und dann kann man die Übersetzung auch in allen Sprachen, das hat Doro zusammengestellt. Danke, Doro und Sabine, für die Einladung und das zu organisieren. Es ist wunderschön. Es ist sehr tragisch, was uns zusammengebracht hat, aber es ist gut, so viele Mütter von so vielen Ländern zu sehen. Und wir haben alle die gleichen Anlagen und wollen die gleichen Sachen verändern. It's good to see so many mothers from so many countries getting together and as Leslie said, fighting this together. Unser jüngstes Kind, Danny, sein Bild ist hinter mir an der Wand. Unser jüngstes Kind, Danny, starb in 2014 an einer versehentlichen Drogenvergiftung. Danny war 25 Jahre alt. Er war in Genesung, als eine weitere Pille, die er für einen gefälschten Oxycontin hielt, aber tatsächlich Fentanyl war, sein Leben nahm. Er war eines der ersten Opfer in unserer Provinz, bevor Fentanyl in den Nachrichten war, bevor es gesundheitliche Warnungen gab. Die kamen erst Monate nach seinem Tod. Nachdem Danny gestorben war, hatten wir viele schwierige Entscheidungen zu treffen. Aber wir beschlossen, über seine Todesursache offen zu sein. Wir wollten die Stille und das Stigma beenden. Freunde und Familie sowie sein Arbeitsplatz waren überrascht. Substanzgebrauch ist oft versteckt. Und Danny war ein Meister des Versteckens. Er sah von außen wie ein erfolgreicher junger Mann aus, mit einem großartigen Job in einem der besten Restaurants von Edmonton, mit einer coolen Wohnung in der Innenstadt. Und für eine Weile hatten wir den alten Danny-Berg. Aber drinnen kämpfte er noch. Sein Drogenkonsum begann als seine Art, mit schwerer sozialer Angst umzugehen. Dennoch gab es andere Risikofaktoren. Eine Lernschwäche, Schwulsein, Arbeiten in einem Umfeld, in dem Drogenkonsum vorherrscht. Und er war auch sehr impulsiv und risikofreudig. One of the most significant barriers to providing more effective supports is stigma. Many people see drug use as a self-inflicted problem, an overdose as something the person brought on. It is stigma that causes people to use and die alone. And if we can stop stigma, we can save more lives. Substance use and overdose can affect anyone from anywhere, as is evidenced here tonight. As Leslie explained, after Danny died, I started reaching out to media. And media is instrumental, and I'm thankful to the two reporters who are here with us tonight and for your time and for all the messages, all the voices you always bring. Without you, we would not get our voices heard the way we do. And I was fortunate that time when I reached out to media to meet a passionate young reporter who wrote a beautiful story about Danny. And that's how I met Leslie and Lorna and many of the other warrior moms who are here. We started Moms Who Stop the Harm in 2016 with a handful of women, a Facebook page, the website, and a conviction that we had to change the system that let our children down. Today, we have nearly 1,700 families Canada-wide. It's not just moms, it's dads, siblings, spouses, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends of people who've lost a loved one to substance use, as well as families who have a loved one living with substance use. Our mission is to advocate to end substance use-related stigma, harms, and death. We do so by doing what we do tonight. We do so by sharing our stories with anyone who will listen and by working to change drug policies. We know that sharing our stories will open hearts. And if we can open hearts, we can hopefully open minds. What we're currently working on is getting safer supply to people so they're not dying from toxic street drugs. So we are looking to provide pharmaceutical alternatives to street drugs. And as Leslie mentioned, the decriminalization of people who use drugs, because nothing creates stigma as criminalization does. And we need to end the stigma so our loved ones can get the help they need. We quickly learned as advocates to be effective, we have to support one another, which is what we're doing tonight. We started the Healing Heart grief support groups, and we have online support groups of people with lived experience. And we started a project in British Columbia called Stronger Together that we're hoping to expand. You can go to our website to learn more, and anyone in Moms Stop the Harm is happy to assist those of you in other countries who will start a movement. Any mom can start a movement. Ihr seid nicht allein. Zusammen könnt ihr eine Bewegung schaffen in eurem Land. Und zusammen könnt ihr es verändern. Und wie ihr das macht, ist, ihr erzählt die Geschichten eurer Kinder und ihr öffnet Herzen und mit den geöffneten Herzen öffnet ihr auch die Gedanken. Und so können wir es verändern. Danke euch allen für die Einladung und ich freue mich darauf zu hören, was andere noch zu sagen haben.
Danke sehr, Petra. Danke. Darlana.
Darlana's next.
Darlana.
Sorry,
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Greetings, everyone, for Powell River, BC, Canada. My name is Darlene Trelaw, and I lost my son, my oldest son, Sean, at 27, fentanyl poisoning in 2016. Sean was funny and smart. He loved the outdoors, and he cared about animals and people. Sorry. He was also a curious boy, and he liked to live a little on the edge. Sean had trauma as a young boy. At 12, the family unit split. Sean's two best friends moved right out of town, and he went into middle school all in the same month. It was hard on him, and he was heartbroken. He started using cannabis and alcohol to self-medicate. And by 15, he was using cocaine. And then he found opioids when he was in his late teens. He and a group of his friends were using prescription pills, Oxycontins, hydromorphine. They all became addicted rapidly. When he became addicted, he came to me for help. And he said he had no idea what he was getting himself into when he started. And neither did I. And the cycle of addiction began. Sean's 32nd birthday is in 2 days. How I wish he was here to celebrate with his family. I miss him every day. Powell River is a small and isolated coastal town in British Columbia. But we are no stranger to addiction and loss. In fact, we are second to Vancouver, BC, in overdose deaths per capita for our region. And shortly after I lost my son, I joined Mom Stop the Harm in order to raise awareness to overdose and to help reduce the stigma and shame for people who use and their families. My dear Doro, I met Doro after I posted about our memorial Christmas tree. I'll show the picture. On the Fentanyl Victims We Remember page. This is a white tree with purple and silver decorations with the faces of our loved ones. It is a powerful visual and also helps us in our grief at Christmas time to remember our loved ones. Doro reached out to me after she lost her only child, 19-year-old Alexander, to fentanyl in Austria. There was little support at that time in her country. People weren't talking about it. And I am honored to help and support Doro as she is gaining her strength and has started Purple Wing. I want to say I am grateful to see the friendships we are gaining through all our losses. And I'm thankful Doro and Sabina are together in support and doing important advocacy in your own country. After Doro and I met online, we sent each other gift packages featuring items from our countries and towns. I love doing this, and I especially love the amethyst crystal, the protection stone that hangs from my rear view mirror in my car every day as I work. The apricot jam, and the cigarette that mistakenly fell into the box. We had a pretty good laugh over that. I want to thank you, ladies, for this wonderful idea to bring us all together internationally today through Zoom. I feel this is history in the making. It is both sad and an honor to be in all your company. I am truly sorry for all our losses and what we have gone through. Together we are strong, and bless each and every one with love for me, Darlene. Okay. I just want to show a picture of the ornaments that go on the tree. Our faces of our loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, next is
Beata. I can't hear anything. Can you guys hear me?
Ja. Dalana haben wir jetzt, glaube ich, nicht mehr, oder?
What is going on?
Dalana? Jetzt haben wir sie. Hat man sie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes. Dalana, we can hear you. So, jetzt ist es nicht.
Okay, jetzt Beata.
Next is
Beata. Beatko, prosimy Ciebie teraz.
Can you guys hear me?
No,
yes?
No. We heard what you said, Dalana. Just is sometimes mute.
Ja.
Okay. Beata is mute. Kannst du das sagen? Sie ist noch Stimmen.
Beata, ty nie masz głosu, nie słychać. Beata? O, jest. Teraz, okej.
Dobra,
Dobra, Beatko, zaczynaj.
No. Witajcie, jestem mamą Arka, młodego 22-latka z marzeniami i planami na przyszłość. Szkoda, że możecie poznać go tylko ze zdjęcia. Mój syn to młody, zdolny, wrażliwy chłopak, uwielbia robić coś dla innych, ma wiele pasji i wiele planów. Uwielbia tworzyć i śpiewać, sam pisze teksty, wykonuje swoje utwory. Piszę o nim w czasie teraźniejszym, bo dla mnie on cały czas jest, istnieje, żyje i jest obok nas. Wstaję z myślą o nim, zasypiam z myślą o nim. Często zastanawiam się, jak mu tam jest, czy jest ze swoim ukochanym ojcem i czy jest szczęśliwy. Teraz trochę o tym, co się stało. W styczniu Arek wyjechał do Holandii. Szczęśliwy, zadowolony, mówił o pracy, o planach, o urlopie, że tęskni za domem, młodszym bratem. A 23 maja runął nam świat. Nie umiem się z tym pogodzić, że dał się wciągnąć ten złudny świat szczęścia. Wystarczyły 2 miesiące, a zatracił się w tym szaleństwie. Przypuszczam, że próbował tym zagłuszyć swoją tęsknotę za domem, za zmarłym ojcem, za dziewczyną, za bratem. Dlatego trzeba zrobić wszystko, co się tylko da, aby takich fioletowych matek było jak najmniej, aby już żadna matka nie traciła syna w ten bezmyślny sposób, bo jest nas masa, a pewnie będzie jeszcze więcej. To byłoby na tyle. Pozdrawiam i ściskam, mama Arka.
Dziękujemy bardzo. Danke. Danke sehr.
So, die nächste ist die
Karin.
Du bist noch auf Stumm geschalten, Karin, und musst das Stummzeichen
machen. Wiesz, ręce mi na tym. Ale może najpierw... Nie.
So.
Hallo.
Hallo, ja,
hallo Karin.
Ich sag's in English, yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm very grateful having the opportunity to be with you in this meeting today. We all share the same or similar experiences. We understand the pains each of us went through and still goes through. For more than 10 years, I was feeling lonely and desperate. During all these years, I was always there for my son. It was very painful when I had to realize that I couldn't do anything to stop him from killing himself slowly. I lost him in May this year. He was 34 years old. but I've lost him years ago. His personality changed and he turned more and more to a stranger. Christmas is approaching and we will miss our children just like every single day. For me, it's not my first Christmas without my son. Since many years, Christmas, birthday, Mother's Day, nothing meant anything to him anymore. I want to believe in a higher purpose, in a higher sense that justifies his destiny, but also my own. Why so many young ones leave much too early? I wish you lots of strength during Christmas time. Thank you.
Danke sehr, Karin.
Thank you very much, Don. Thank you.
Danke.
Next to Aline.
Hi, everyone. It's
Thank
wonderful.
you for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This is just such a treat. I'm really honored to be here. My son, Stephen, he's behind me here, was a loud, charismatic, handsome, and funny fellow. He had a long history of substance misuse that lasted for half of his very short life. He lost his long battle with substance use to an overdose on January 31st, 2015. He died alone. The absolute goneness of him is the hardest thing for me to cope with, as I'm sure it is for all of you. Even as I approach the 6th year of his death, it doesn't get any softer. His death has been a devastating blow and the most difficult unfolding emotional experience in my entire life. I couldn't save him. I wish I could have somehow captured the essence of him in a bottle that I could just open up and release whenever I need to be near him, because I miss him so. Advocacy keeps me close to him. I believe that supporting safe supply, decriminalization, removing stigma, supporting our youth in substance use is so important. I support all means to change the current view of people who use drugs. I support all means to eradicate this crisis that affects so many of us. As the gal before me said, we don't need any more purple mums, and that is so very true. I want to thank you all again for this extraordinary event. I'm delighted to collaborate with you and with all the women from Purple Wing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jennifer.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Great. I just want to start by saying I feel very honored to be in the presence of all of you here that have gathered today. And I feel, despite our devastating loss that we've all experienced, there is a power that comes from women who come together as one voice. And I was reflecting, it's stood over time, the historical power of women to come together and create change throughout history. And I really feel that this is one of those moments that as mothers who've experienced the worst loss and families who've experienced the worst loss, I feel hopeful that change will happen in our loved ones' names. So my name is Jennifer Howard, and I lost my only son, Robbie, at the age of 24, and that's Robbie there. He died in 2016 to fentanyl poisoning. He died alone in the privacy of his home. No one there to help him call for help. No one there with naloxone. he died alone. Robbie hid his drug use and somehow thought he could self-manage his challenges. With the criminalization and stigma associated with drug use, Robbie couldn't share his struggles, and it forced him into the shadows. And that's so wrong, and that's what's so wrong about all of these losses. In those early months after Robbie died, I didn't feel I could survive the gut-wrenching loss of my child. It was a loss unlike anything else that I'd ever experienced in my life. And it hit me to my core. I felt the stigma from others and the police who were involved in his passing. He was just another drug addict. And somehow the underlying message was, he chose this, and this is the consequence of his choice. And that was painful to experience on top of the loss of your child. To be faced with that stigma is incredibly difficult as a mother. Like Robbie, the consequence for me was that I felt isolated and stigmatized in my grief. No one understood until I met the amazing work being done by members of Moms Stop the Harm. They were a lifeline and a safe place to share my journey with others that really understood. And through our collective loss, we carry a wisdom and a knowledge that strengthens our voice for change. And through our pain and loss, I believe, as I said at the beginning, I believe that we will make a difference together in memory and in honor of all our loved ones. So today, my heart goes out to all the countless families around the globe that grieve a loved one. We come together in solidarity today and in remembrance of our loved ones, and we are committed to fighting for change. And so I carry that hope in my heart. And I thank you, Dora, for organizing this event today, because it's very powerful to be so far apart, but to come together in such an intimate way to share our children's stories and our power and commitment for change. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jenny. So next one is Antoinette, please. Antoinette?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for including me in this powerful coming together of those of us honoring our loved ones. My name is Antoinette Gravel-Willette, and I'm from Rivers, Manitoba, Canada. Today, I come before you all to honor those taken too soon in our area. I stand for many and honor each life that was taken by overdose poisoning or substance-related death. I stand for Kevin, for Echo, for Peter, for Jesse, for Christine, for Sanchez, for Nolan, for AJ, for Stephen, for Destiny, for Brad, for Jeremy, for Josh, for Tabitha, for Evan, for Charmaine, for Nolan, and for all of those I have not mentioned, as there's so many. We remember them in our hearts, especially at this time of year, and we grieve what we truly miss about them. There is a saying that love is eternal, and once experiencing the loss of a loved one, you come into an understanding in a different and deeper way. Though they're not physically with us, they absolutely live in our hearts and our minds and in our memories. They are the ones that went before us. So now we are called to stand in this world, to reduce the stigma, to bring about the change in our society that's so needed. to bring more compassion, love, and understanding to our world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ja, Renata. Renata, proszę teraz ty. Renata. Nie słychać ciebie, Renata. Wir haben keine Stimme. Wir haben keine Stimme. Keine Stimme von der Renata. Soll ich den nächsten, bis du das entscheidest, ob du das machen kannst? Man hört sie nicht. Nein. Aber sie ist noch mute. Sie ist auf mute. Okay. Jenny?
Jenny, why don't you globally unmute everybody, and then everybody can mute themselves again.
Moment.
You can? No.
Hallo? Hallo? Sie unmutet jetzt alles. Okay. Moment. Moment. Jeszcze chwilę, Renatko, jeszcze sekundę. Ona odblokowuje głosy. Kann sie das nicht selbst tun? Nein, wahrscheinlich nicht so.
Oh, schreib doch vielleicht mal was in Polnisch.
Ja. Dieses Symbol müsst ihr doch selbst deaktivieren.
I have asked her to unmute. Renata, can you hear me? Just click above where it says unmute. Within your window.
I'm not sure she's able to understand English.
Okay, I can send her.
Okay, but Dora is writing to her. A moment.
Okay.
Could we mute ourselves again?
So, yeah, okay. I did. I'm not sure why it's not going through on my end.
Sekunde. She's writing a message for her.
Okay.
So. Renata? Renata? Odblokuj Mikrofon. Ich glaube, sie sieht uns auch nicht. Okay, aber wir sehen sie. Moment. Dann, weißt du was, dann machen wir die nächste. Wer ist der nächste? Susan. Und ich rufe die Renate an. Okay. Ich telefoniere mit Renate. She is calling Renata and trying to fix the problem. Okay. And next will be Susan. Okay. So we can listen to Susan during the period she is talking to Renata.
All right.
Thank you.
You hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. I'd like to thank you, Dora and Sabina, for this opportunity to be together. Vielen Dank für die Einladung. I do have a little bit of German. So it's now 2 years that our son Trevor, we also knew as he passed away from fentanyl at the age of 26. It was December the 8th, 2018. We last saw Trevor on St. Nicholas Day, December 6th. He came to see me with a bottle of wine that we were going to share at a later date, gave me a huge hug, said he loved me and thanked me for all I had done for him. He was coming home from work excited. He had a career in plumbing and a certificate from the college. So he had accomplished so much in spite of his 10-year challenge with addiction. And he fought very, very hard. We fought with him. I believe our son would still be here if he wouldn't have had the stigma of his addiction and if he would have had a safe supply of drugs. This haunts us every day and we grieve every single day. Trevor gave us the gift of his love. Mom Stop the Harm here in Cologne. They have given me comfort and support. And now the Purple Wings have given me the promise of light in the darkness. With the light of this candle, I wish everyone some peace and light for this Christmas. So with heartfelt affection, Liebe und Licht zum Weihnachten. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, okay, thank you very much, Susan. Thank you. Okay, next is Pam.
Helen.
Helen for Pam Turgan. Yes. So Helen, you're still mute? Yeah.
Pam is still here. Pam is still here, so she'll speak for herself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, Pam, okay. Okay. Hi.
I'm Pam.
Sorry, I can't, there's no name below.
I know, sorry. My name is Pam Turgeon, and I live in Kelowna, BC, Canada. This is my beautiful son, Ryan. And Ryan died of a fentanyl poisoning on February the 1st, 2016. I didn't write a lot down, but I just wanted to say thank you very much for inviting us Mom Stop the Harm. It's overwhelming to see so many mothers and fathers that are in our same pain. I'm not really going to talk about my son's addiction. I want to talk about the human that he was when he was alive. Sorry.
It's okay.
Ryan was a bigger than life guy. He was 260 pounds, 6'4", tall, dark, handsome guy who had the most kind, loving heart. He was a hard worker. He was funny. He had the most amazing one-liners of anybody I know. He would literally, and he did literally, take the socks off his feet to give them to people that needed it. Ryan had a mental break in a foreign country where he worked all over the world. And that was a cause from some suppressed pain that he had many years earlier when his son-in-law died in his arms of an overdose as well. Ryan never got over that. And he fought really hard, and he ran, and he worked all over the world to suppress that pain. Unfortunately, one night, he made a very bad mistake and took a line of coke that was laced with fentanyl, and he died in our basement, and I found him. He was 32 years old. He wanted to be a dad. He wanted to be a husband. And most of all, he was the most amazing uncle. So all I have to say is, you know, the holidays are always hard for every one of us. And this is very touching for me that I can share this with all you mothers. I send you love and peace from Canada and around the world. And I thank all my warrior mothers from Mom Stop the Harm who have held me up when I was down and who carry me on every day. So I thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. Thank you. Thank you very much. Chris Dobbs is next, please.
My mute, I just took it off. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yes, no? We can hear you fine.
First, I'm Christine Dobbs from Winnipeg, Canada. Thank you so much, everyone, for allowing me to honor my son with you today. Okay, here goes. In the last several years, there has been a lot of positive attention on addictions, on the addictions front. It is the voices and the feet on the ground, we, who live the grief, that have created the attention. For any part that I played, I will acknowledge my son, Adam Watson. Adam died on February 6, 2016 from a fentanyl poisoning. His death forced me to join in the growing chorus of voices calling for help in this crisis. Adam died at a very young age of 27. He was struggling at the time more than ever. We all know that struggle, the pain and the shame and the guilt and the little understanding we parents had. I often cry because I was so angry at him. Just stop, I'd say, the begging and the pleading, the fear we lived with. Adam was and is and will always be my beautiful boy with an infectious smile. He dressed with style. He took pride in all that he did. And he even took his drugs with care. He did not want to die. He was a hardworking fourth-year apprentice, electrician. He had dreams of running his own business in cottage country. He loved the outdoors, but this was all stolen by the drugs that inhabited his brain and the disease of substance use. It was not for lack of trying. The list is exhaustive. The navigation, the lack of detox, the waiting list, and the stigma, and his own shame. Adam cried for help. He wrote me a letter begging us not to give up on him, that he was trapped in a bad place and he didn't know how to escape. We tried everything. A year later, he was gone too soon. Putting an end to stigma and showing compassion for those struggling, showing the light to someone must be the foundation of what we do. Healthcare is a basic human right, yet 10,000 die. Over 10,000 die. It will be 5 years this February 6th, and in all the time, I asked what has not changed. Still more deaths. Thank you. And
Thank you very much.
And I am very excited that I'm here Zooming in an international sharing of our grief. It's groundbreaking and heartbreaking. And I'm wishing you all Christmas filled with hope and love and light. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have Renata here on the phone because her
your computer is kaputt gegangen.
Okay. Her PC is down. She has no connection, but she's calling through phone.
Yes.
And Doro shows it to you.
Renata, teraz będziesz mówić. Okej, to dobra, to zostać. Dobra, za 5 minut. To jest następna, ona za 5 minut.
Oh, hide it.
Okay. Następna. Christine Sander. Stockholm. Hallo Stockholm.
Wenn es nicht klappt, du kannst einfach dein Telefon an die Kamera halten.
Ja, sie holt sich jetzt ein anderes Handy und dann werde ich halten. Das haben wir so ausgemacht. Sie hat gesagt 5 Minuten. Das heißt, jetzt kann eine Teilnehmerin sprechen. Das ist Stockholm jetzt.
Christine Sander.
I live in a little town like it's Varberg in Sweden. It's a little bit from Stockholm, but it's in Sweden. Okay. I have a missed that we can talk a little bit more, so I have just a little text. But I want to say I'm a chairman for an organization in Sweden who have the same 7 key points from Some Moms Stop the Harm. And I'm so honored to meet Petra in Porto, and she is a big inspiration for me. And I must say we in Sweden have the next highest, we have the highest drug-related death in Europe. So we must fight for the stigma and for the decriminalization for the drugs. And I want to read a little text. Today I want to honor and remember Robert, who died in the suits of an overdose on April the 3rd, 2018, only 34 years old. Robert was the love of my daughter and father of my grandchild. He was a man who suffered of comorbidity and led a thug life, but he loved his daughter, and it was a great sadness I have to see her grow up without her father. Today she is 11 years old, and we often talk about him. One of the reasons I am committed to family and human rights for drug users is precisely because no one should have to lose someone in such unnecessary death when there is harm reduction efforts to can prevent this kind of things, like syringe exchange, counsel room, and naloxone and safe supply. Exceptly naloxone, which in this case should have saved Robert's life. I think it's very important to fight for naloxone in Sweden. And little out of the order, I want to honor Bim, is our vice chairman's daughter. She died 1 year ago, 14 December, and I want him today to be here, but he and his wife, who also is a board member, they don't fix it today. So I say I represent Sweden with Laura today, and it's a big honor to meet you, everyone, and I hope we do it next year also. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So this is more for me. Okay, so Dora is trying to get Renata.
Ja.
So I hope.
Sag das über das mit dem Text.
Okay. Okay. Ich wollte noch mehr short about the naloxone. It's a problem here in Austria too, because no one knows it. And I've even talked to the emergency director at our place because my son didn't get an injection or some nasal spray. There was no, they didn't know it. They said, yeah, we haven't. But it's in a testing situation. I don't know. I got no more information, and don't know if there is if it's right or it's wrong. So I'm on it, and I'm trying to get more information about the naloxone because nobody is willing to do something here. So
Poland?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Poland.
And Renata.
Renata Trojanowska.
Ja.
Dzień dobry, witam Was wszystkich serdecznie. Przepraszam, ale miałam awarię komputera. Witam Was wszystkich serdecznie jeszcze raz. Nazywam się Renata Trojanowska i pochodzę z Polski. Jestem tu dzisiaj z Wami, bo tak jak Wy straciłam moje ukochane dziecko przez narkotyki. 20 lat, tyle miał mój syn, gdy zmarł. Minęło 35 miesięcy, jak go nie ma, ja dalej czekam na niego. Czekam i ciągle myślę, jak to się mogło stać, że moje piękne, wspaniałe dziecko brało narkotyki, a ja tak długo tego nie wiedziałam, że aż się musiała zdarzyć tragedia, śmierć Madzi, dziewczyny Bartka. Już choć wtedy wiedzieliśmy i według nas robiliśmy wszystko, co możliwe, czyli była terapia, psychiatra, psycholog. I wszędzie słyszeliśmy, że jest dobrze, że syn bardzo chce wyjść z nałogu, że jest szansa, bo przez narkotyki stracił coś cenniejszego dla niego, bo zabrało mu miłość, to niestety nałóg był silniejszy od nas. Tak 21 stycznia 2018 roku o godzinie 6:18 znalazłam swoje dziecko śne bez oznak życia. Pomimo długiej reanimacji i podania naloxonu, niestety po godzinie 9 pan doktor poinformował mnie o zgonowaniu. Resztę pamiętam jak przez mgłę. Policja, prokurator, rewizja, moje zaskoczenie. W bluzie syna znaleziono biały proszek. Później dowiedziałam się, że to tak zwany MAF, dopalacz ze składem fentanylu. Ogromny morderca i sprawca wielu dzieci. I tak zaczęło się moje życie w Bogu. Tak jak ono wygląda, to myślę, że Wy to wiecie najlepiej. Ból tak straszny, że aż tchu brakuje. Ogromna tęsknota i tak wielkie wyrzuty sumienia, że co ze mną nie tak, co ze mnie za matka, że ja spałam, a moje dziecko umierało. Choć tyle razy sprawdzałam, kontrolowałam, to nie zauważyłam, że sen wrócił do nałogu. Dziś już wiem, w tych 3 latach bardziej poznałam mroka, ale wtedy tak naprawdę nie wiedziałam o nim nic. Ale zaczynałam szukać, bo choć prokuratura wszczęła śledztwo, to ja sama zaczęłam szukać. Weszłam na Facebooka syna i zaczęłam grzebać. Tu przeżyłam ogromny szok. Znalazłam na Facebooku grupę Hyperreal, mamy cały zakres wiedzy. Gdzie co kupić, za ile, konkretne dawki, żeby klepało. Co z czym łączymy, a czego nie wolno. Blisko 50 000 dzieci wysyłających swoje zdjęcia, jak wyglądają, jak coś wezmą, albo szukających porad medycznych u innych młodych narkomanów. MAF U470 to nazwy tego syfu. Oferty sprzedaży plastrów silnie przeciwbólowych, jakieś leki bez recepty. Dla mnie to był szok ogromny. Posiedziałam, poczytałam, zgłosiłam grupę na policję i na Facebooku. Takich grup są setki, ale teraz jest się bardzo trudno na nie dostać, bo jestem wszędzie blokowany. Już mnie poznano jako tą matkę wariatkę, matkę zerwową. Takie grupy są i to jest straszne. Zresztą jest też Hyperreal Info, normalnie w każdej wyszukiwarce, tam się można dowiedzieć wszystkiego. Dzisiaj pewnie wiadomości są tylko dla osób sprawdzonych, ale i tak można dowiedzieć się dużo. A reklamy sklepów tak zwanych kolekcjonerskich lecą ciągle. Jeden sklep jest likwidowany, to zaraz powstaje drugi. Próbowałam coś z tym zrobić, ale samej jednej było bardzo trudno. Zresztą musiałam zacząć powracać do życia, bo miałam małą córkę, która wtedy oprócz brata straciła też mamę. Dziś jestem już na innym etapie, bo to nie znaczy, że pogodziłam się ze śmiercią Bartka. Nigdy się nie pogodzę, ale chcę, by mój ból, moją stratę przerodzić w coś innego. Teraz jestem w stanie przed kimś powiedzieć, że jestem matką ofiary narkotyków. Bo długo się tego wstydziłam. Poczułam tak, jakby śmierć mojego dziecka była gorsza. Jak czytałam na grupach o stracie, o śmierci na raka 5-latki, to wstydziłam się napisać, że mój syn zmarł z przedawkowania, bo mieszkam w małym miasteczku pod Warszawą i tu wszyscy wszystko wiedzieli lepiej i oceniali nas, mojego syna i co najgorsze moją córkę. Więc dostała 10-latka, łatkę siostry tego, co przydawkował, a my rodziców, co się nie zajmują dziećmi, tylko pracą. A Bartek student 2 kierunków psychologii i informatyki, który sam na te studia zarabiał łatkę ćpuna. Ale dzisiaj ja jestem dużo silniejsza i chcę i wiem, że można zrobić więcej, tylko nas musi być więcej. Chcę, by takie mamy jak ja wyszły z ukrycia i zaczęły mówić o sobie i swoim bólu, by nie wstydziły się bycia matką narkomanką. Bo ten wróg jest bardzo silny i jednostka z nimi nie wygra. Ale jak nas będzie dużo, to mamy szansę. Renata Trojanowska, mama Bartka. Dziękuję bardzo.
Dziękujemy, Renatko. Bardzo dziękujemy.
Thank you very much, Renata. Okay. Carolyn? Yeah, Carolyn will be next. Carolyn Knight. Carolyn?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm honored to be here, and I'm speaking with wonderful mothers all around the world. And I'm here in the Lekwungen territories, otherwise known as the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. And I am honored to be here as it seems I'm the only mother that still has her child alive. My son, his name is Colm, and he's 25 years old. And he is no longer subject to his own use. But I wanted to take part today because my son is one of the kids in the world who is born for this time. And through his experience and mine, which I'll tell you a bit more about, but about him, I attended the International Overdose Awareness Day here in Victoria a couple of years ago, and I had heard about Mom Stop the Harm, and I hadn't gotten involved yet. But at that wonderful event, I met Jennifer and I met Leslie formally. And I also took part in a training session to learn how to administer naloxone. And with my son coaching me, I learned how to carry it, to have it in my car, to have it in my handbag. I learned with other mothers and other people in our community who are trying to be the change in the world. And I have to say that I had a really hard relationship with harm reduction. And it took me a long, long time before I really accepted it. My son experienced using cannabis and other substances at probably about the age of 11. And I say, with him having told me that it was a part of wanting to belong to somebody, the kind of person that he is, and trauma. We're talking about that now. We're talking about it and we're learning about it, and we're finding out that things that happen in childhood really do have a really great impact on young people. And it wasn't until my son he lived on the street here for a number of years. He hasn't told me all of the experiences that he's had, but I know that it was terrifying. And I lived many years going and looking for my son, or I would see him for 4 minutes at a street corner and I'd know that he was alive. And then I would not hear from him for weeks and weeks. And then he would call me in tears and say that one of his friends had died from an overdose. And I've probably had that call from my son with him telling me that another friend has died probably about 50 times. My son is only 25 years old, and he has had the experience of so many young people dying that he has developed the skills and has the heart to be part of the Overdose Prevention Society work in the downtown east side of Vancouver. He lives and works in the downtown east side of Vancouver, and the journalists may be familiar with that. Maybe some of the mothers have heard about that area in our country. There isn't a day that goes by that I'm not petrified for my son, that something will be such another trauma that he will lose the ability to not use. So my darkness never really ends. And in this season, I unfortunately have too many bad memories of the fear that he won't join us, the fear that that somebody else will come to harm in his life, and that will affect him to lose his resolve. At this point, I want to say what an honor it is to be with warrior mothers around the world. And my 90-year-old mother knows that we're having this call today. And if my mother could be here, because of COVID, she's not able to come and be with me in the place that I am right now, but she knows about this call. And without my mother, I don't know that my son and I would be able to be here. I want to thank mothers, the Purple Mothers, and Mom Stop the Harm for taking us where we don't want to go. And I have a couple of quotes that when I was thinking about what I wanted to say, I thought I should look for some things that would also offer some hope in this dark time. So just bear with me. I have a couple of quotes to share with you. From Jennifer Williamson. I keep on in my heart, honoring the dark until the morning comes. From C. Joy Bell C. The issue here is that we tend to believe that darkness is the enemy in this world. It's not. The enemy in this world is that extremely blinding light that says, you're flawed. You have dark patches on your face. You have cuts on your fingers. You have scars on your feet. And look, everyone can see all of that here in this light. There's nowhere to hide any of that here. You don't belong here. A blinding light where there is no place for people to hide. That's the great evil in this world. A useless light, one that does not know in the darkness that it is useful. It's not the darkness that is the enemy. We have vilified people's scars, people's wounds, and people's hiding places, and we have told them that they don't belong out here like that. Instead of going in there, where they are lighting a candle, and instead saying, thanks for letting me inside. And one last quote from Anne Frank. Look at how a single candle can both defy and define darkness. And in these dark days, I know that in my spirit and in my heart, I feel light when I'm with you. And I'm hearing your incredible testimony. And the activist in me, the mom in me, and the sister to you, all of you are my sisters. And I want you to know that even though my son is here, that I learn from you and I act with you, and I'm really happy to be a part of Mom Stop the Harm. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Laura is next, please. From Sweden.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
All? Yes. I'm from Sweden, Stockholm, and I would like to share my son Geronimo's story with you. Here is Geronimo. I would like to read something for you that I wrote. I'm sorry. So, yes, Geronimo was his name. Geronimo as the Apache warrior. Geronimo turned out to be a warrior too. He had to fight his demons all life. Geronimo suffered anxiety, had Asperger's syndrome, and ADD. He was the funniest, most sensitive, intelligent, loving person ever. But one crucial night, he ended in the emergency room with an anxiety attack, and they could see he had smoked cannabis. After that, no doctor would give him the treatment he asked for. He was just a drug addict in their eyes. Geronimo couldn't trust doctors anymore, so he started to self-medicate. On October the 3rd, 2015, he took an overdose tramadol. Geronimo died and left us in a horrible pain. Geronimo didn't belong to this world. He is my angel. He was my son. And I want to say we need to end stigma, support and don't punish, and save lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, ich habe jetzt die Jennifer gefragt, wer die Dame ist.
Okay.
Okay,
there's only one woman left. But sorry, I don't know your name. With the cat on your arms. So, okay. Can I say back Johnny? Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
I'm sorry. My name is Anne Marie. I'm from
Kelowna.
Anne Marie. I'm taking Julie Kelly's chair. She was unable to make it today.
Okay.
So I don't have a speech, but I'll introduce myself and my son that passed away. He died from fentanyl poisoning May 8th, 2018. And I found Mom Stop the Harm, or they found me shortly thereafter. And it does ease my grief to know other mothers and share that with them. And I hear your stories, and I believe my son had a typical life of, trauma in school, ADHD, not able to keep up with other children in ways that he could find pride in what he did. So as a teenager, he wasn't in school anymore, and just sort of the normal teenager, starting with cannabis, and as he got older, went into addiction in his mid-20s, I would say, and I lost him at 33 years old. So thank you for having me today. Worldwide honoring of our children, and we all hold each other up. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you, and I hope that it wasn't the last time we met. Yes, and Doro will have the final words, and so I pass on to her.
Okay. Mein Text kommt danach.
Okay, schicke nach. Ja, zeig.
Okay. So, hallo an alle. Jestem matką bez dziecka. Paradoks sam w sobie, ale ja jestem matką Aleksandra. Aleksander miał tylko 19 lat, kiedy zmarł. Umarłam wraz z nim. Dziś siedzi tu inna kobieta. Ktoś, kogo codziennie po trochu poznaję. Moje odbicie w lustrze. 5 lat to był proces. czas krystalizowania się tego, kim jestem teraz. Byłam załamana, byłam dosłownie w piekle własnego jestestwa. Pracowałam dzień i noc, bez snu, na krawędzi życia i śmierci. Upijałam się w samą Wigilię. Skoczyłam spadochronem z 4000 metrów. Spałam w namiocie przy minus 10 stopniach. I byłam zupełnie sama, bo w żałobie jest się samemu, nawet jeśli ktoś obok jest. Byłam skonfrontowana z moim nowym ja, którego w ogóle nie chciałam. Wyglądało to tak, jakbym ja była jedyną osobą w Europie, jedyną matką, a mój syn jedynym chłopcem w Europie, uczniem szkoły średniej, który umarł z powodu narkotyków. W 2018 roku w grudniu poznałam wirtualnie Helen i Darlanę. Potem pojawiła się Sabina, Karin, Manuela, Silvia, Beata, Halina, Renata i dziś siedzę tu i widzę, że jesteście wy wszystkie. Chciałabym podziękować Helen i Darlanie, które wskazały mi drogę. Jestem silniejsza niż kiedykolwiek. Czuję w sobie ogromną energię, by swobodnie móc mówić. Ich bin die Mutter eines Drogenopfers. Ich bin Opfer von Stigmatisierung und ich bin eine freie Frau. Ein Mensch, der sich nie wieder einreden lässt, dass ich nicht die gleichen Rechte habe, wie alle anderen haben in der Demokratie der Europäischen Union. Dass mein Sohn an einem sogenannten peinlichen Tod gestorben wäre. Dass ich keine Rechte hätte, an die Europäische Union Fragen zu stellen, zum Beispiel die, warum die Zusammenarbeit von Polizei, Staatsanwalt und ähnlichen Institutionen in dem Fall des Todes meines Sohnes im Jahre 2015 völlig versagt hat und dass ich vor allem auch das Recht habe, Antworten zu bekommen. Das Thema Drogen, Drogenopfer, Familien von Drogenopfern ist ein Tabuthema hier in Österreich. Wir werden an Rand der elterlichen Gemeinschaft gedrängt und still verpflichtet zu klären, ob wir die elterlichen Pflichten richtig erfüllt hätten, obwohl die Wahrscheinlichkeit ziemlich groß ist, dass diejenigen, die uns drängen, die Eltern von Kindern sind, die unseren Kindern den Tod verkauft haben. Beispiel Drogenhandel in den Schulen. Warum ist es der einfachste Weg, einem gebrochenen Menschen, der in einem unsichtbaren Rollstuhl sitzt, die Schuld zu geben oder einem, der tot ist? Warum? Weil die Politiker, die auch aus unserer Tasche bezahlt werden, nicht in der Lage sind, Drogenprobleme zu lösen, weil Präventionsprogramme eine Reihe von erfolglosen und uninteressanten Broschüren sind, die nicht dem Zeitgeist angepasst sind, nicht modern und strategisch durchdacht sind, vor allem in der Art und Weise der Vermittlung. Das ist reine Geldverschwendung. Ich bin zutiefst davon überzeugt, dass niemand im ganzen Universum besser um Problemlösungen kämpfen wird, als eine Mutter oder ein Vater, die eine violette Tragödie überlebt haben. Unsere Kinder haben uns nicht nur die Trauer hinterlassen, sondern auch die große Aufgabe, die wir vielleicht gemeinsam angehen sollten. Eine trauernde Mutter oder ein trauernder Vater ist für den Rest der Welt erbärmlich und wird als Übertreibender eingestuft. 10 Mütter und 10 Väter des Knüppels der Traurigkeit, die dazu neigen, die Atmosphäre in den Einkaufszentren der White Christmas vor Weihnachten zu verderben. Tausende von Elternstimmen, die auf der ganzen Welt zu hören werden. Und das interkontinentale Netzwerk des Informationsaustausches und der Ideenentwicklung, das sich gegenseitig Kraft gibt, das nenne ich eine violette Verschwörung. Und dies ist mein Licht in der Finsternis. Ja chciałabym jeszcze wymienić imię Patryk, lat 19, Maciej, lat 33. Ich rodzice nie mogą tu być dzisiaj. Und ich möchte einen Namen noch erwähnen Tomasz. Tomasz, der ist heute nicht da, aber der ist auch nicht so betroffen in der Weise wie wir. Er hat auf eine andere Weise seine Tochter verloren, aber er unterstützt uns und arbeitet für uns und hat mir geholfen, dieses Treffen zu organisieren. Seine Tochter heißt Ola und ist mit 20 Jahren gestorben. Vielen Dank an Tomek und sein Engagement. Und ich schließe die heutige Sitzung mit einem Zitat von Sabine Oelzand. Und wir werden nie aufhören, über unsere Jungs zu reden. Niemals. Und selbst wenn wir einmal sterben, flüstern wir ihren Namen durch die Bäume. Ja, den letzten Satz.
Okay, she asked me to translate the last words. It's one thing I once wrote to her. And we will never stop talking about our child. Never. And if we once die, we whisper their names through the trees. So thank you very much for listening and for joining and for helping us. And
ja, ich sage noch polnisch ten Satz. Ja, jeszcze to ostatnie zdanie zakończające dzisiejsze spotkanie powiem w języku polskim. Nigdy nie przestaniemy mówić o naszych chłopcach i dziewczynach. Nigdy. Nawet jeżeli same umrzemy, będziemy szeptać ich imiona między drzewami. Będzie słychać ten szept. Dziękuję. Tak so mycket. Danke sehr. Thank you very much.
So, ich wollte fragen, vielleicht, wir können noch ein paar Minuten nehmen, wenn noch jemand Fragen hat. We can take a few minutes if somebody has comments or questions, because we don't always have the chance to get together internationally, maybe especially the other European moms, maybe there's a way you can also connect. And I took a screenshot while we're all talking. I just want to make sure that you're all okay and you don't mind if I share that on social media like Twitter.
It's okay.
Ja. Kannst du mal auf Polnisch fragen, dass es okay ist?
Ja, dass wir zu plaudern mal da noch bleiben. Do mam polskich jest taka propozycja, żeby jeszcze chwilę zostać na spotkaniu, tak luźno porozmawiać, jeżeli macie czas i ochotę na to. Ja tutaj jeszcze mam jedną mamę na telefonie, która tutaj obserwuje da gibt es noch eine Mutter, die da an meinem Handy ist, die Renata. Więc jeśli byście chciały, Beatko, to możecie jeszcze zostać chwilę, tak na parę minut rozmowy. Renatko, ty też tutaj na moim telefonie.
Jestem cały czas.
Okay.
Ob Sie damit einverstanden sind, dass das Social Media das Ganze, also sie hat einen Screenshot gemacht und ob die einverstanden sind, dass sie das auf Social Media postet.
Das ist Social Media.
Das ist Instagram, Facebook.
Okej, jest jeszcze pytanie, ponieważ został zrobią taki screenshot, czyli takie zdjęcie z tego, jak tutaj siedzimy i chcą to dać mamy kanadyjskie na swój Instagram, tak jak nas tu widać. Ja musiałabym tutaj Renatę do kamery pokazać. Renata, ja obracam ciebie teraz. Na screenshot. Powiedzcie, jak chcą screenshot zrobić, to z Renatą razem między nami.
Petra, hast du schon einen Screenshot gemacht oder willst du noch?
Ich habe es gemacht. Ja, aber ich habe es gemacht, als Renata war noch da.
Okej, gut. Okej, ty jesteś na screenshot zrobiona, jak jeszcze byłaś w środku. Dobra, ja odwracam. Ty widzisz teraz dalej.
Petra Enduro, can you help me with get contact with you with some? I don't know if you have a Facebook page or something.
Yes. Yeah, we have a Facebook
can
page.
Can you connect me with this?
Yes.
Other?
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot write. I cannot translate in text.
Yeah.
Okay. So I write down and you get an invitation.
I don't hear you now. What did you say?
Okay. Yes, we will check it on Facebook, so you can join the group and you get an invitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I thank
or email me or something, so I just can follow you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can I thank the media guests for coming? As Leslie said earlier, it is so important to get our stories out, which will help break down the barriers of stigma and shame. So thank you for taking your Sunday afternoon and being here with us, both from Purple Wing and Mom Stop the Harm. It's very important. So thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. You've always been there for us. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate the invitation a lot. I just wanted to thank you guys again. Sorry, you women again for inviting me to join in this. And I'm so sorry that you have each experienced this pain, and I'm in awe of your ability to turn that grief into advocacy and into action. I mean, these stories are absolutely heartbreaking, but in years of covering this and in talking to families like yours, I think there's a lot of value in knowing just how common some of these stories and experiences are. Like, for example, people who have been self-medicating to try to get a handle on mental health issues, and people who have been treated really poorly by the healthcare system, and that trust is broken and they refuse to go back, and people who have lost a loved one to an overdose and then in turn are treated like shit from other people, and they have to deal with that stigma and really rude comments from people who don't understand their person at all. And when you hear these stories over and over and over again, you realize just how common it is, not only across Canada, but across the world. And I'm so grateful for groups like these where people can connect and work together and mobilize. And so I thank you for sharing these stories with the media, because obviously it's a very uncomfortable thing to talk about. But I think these stories go a long way in reminding people of the human impact of this crisis. So I thank you again for the invitation today.
Thank you very much. Iga, ich würde gerne was der Iga sagen. Kann man die Iga freischalten mit der Sprache oder wie funktioniert das? Hallo Iga.
Tak, jestem.
Tak, ja chciałam bardzo podziękować, że Pani uczestniczyła w tym wszystkim i przyjrzała się naszym łzom. My płaczemy zawodowo i to taka podstawa, żeby mieć tusz do rzęs zawsze wodoodporny, jak się gdzieś występuje, to każda mama o tym wie. To taki żart mały. Chcę podziękować za to, że Pani wysłuchała tych historii i chcę przede wszystkim moim mamom polskim, Beatce i Renatce, którą tutaj mam na telefonie, bardzo serdecznie podziękować, że miałyście odwagę, bo tak jak na początku rozmawiałyśmy, to był taki trochę strach, trochę kto ja jestem, co ja chcę, a teraz siedzicie tutaj i Beata z mężem swoim i chcecie coś działać i piszecie i działamy. Także ja chcę tutaj podziękować i nie wiem Pani Igo, jak Pani to widziała wszystko, może 2 słowa w 2 językach.
Dobrze, to może najpierw po polsku. Te wszystkie historie są bardzo przejmujące, to znaczy ja też nie zdawałam sobie sprawy z tego, jak łatwe po prostu z dnia na dzień stracić zupełnie wszystko, swoje życie, najważniejszą osobę. To znaczy bardzo przejmujące dla mnie jest to ta niewiedza i to poczucie winy, o którym wszystkie mamy mówią. Ja myślę, że bardzo chciałabym opisać te historie w swoim reportażu, żeby więcej ludzi dowiedziało się o tym. I tak jak rozmawiałyśmy wcześniej, Pani Doroto, żeby ostrzec też innych, bo to jest bardzo ważne, bo możemy pomóc osobom, które jeszcze możemy podać rękę, osobom, które i matkom, i rodzicom, którzy się borykają z tym problemem, wstydzą się o nim mówić, i dzieciom, które być może przeczytają ten tekst, albo rodzice dadzą do przeczytania ten tekst. Im głośniej będziemy o tym mówić, tym większą szansę mamy, żeby przeciwdziałać temu wszystkiemu. Także bardzo dziękuję wszystkim osobom, które tutaj poznałam. Bardzo dziękuję za zaufanie, że mogłam z paniami tutaj być i trudniej będzie mi to powiedzieć po angielsku. No to taka była
może pani krócej.
Dobrze, ale to powiem. Thank you all for all these very touching stories. For me, it's really heartbreaking to hear it, and I think you are very strong, full women, and I leave this chat where my heart is broken now, but I will try to describe your stories in my Polish newspaper. And greetings for Poland, and I wish you all the best this Christmas and next year. I think it's very hurtful for us to live in this very strange times during the COVID. And I give you my hugs and bye and thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Dziękujemy bardzo. Polskie mamy, czy któraś jeszcze chciałaby coś powiedzieć? Dodać? Nie? Renata?
Halo, halo, słyszysz mnie, Dorotka?
Wszyscy cię słyszą. Czy chcesz jeszcze coś dodać?
Ja tylko chciałabym dodać od siebie.
Poczekaj, to ja ciebie odwrócę.
Słyszycie mnie?
Widzą cię.
Widzą mnie. Ja tylko bym chciała dodać, szczególnie jakby pani Iga mogła coś takiego zrobić, bo jestem w wielu grupach, w których są mamy po stratach. Bardzo wielu. I na pewno jest takich mam jak my bardzo dużo. I one w ogóle nie wychodzą, wstydzą się tego cały czas. Wstydzą się śmierci swojego dziecka. To jest najgorsza rzecz, jaka może być. Żeby czuć wstyd, że dziecko zmarło. Żeby może o naszej grupie polskiej gdzieś więcej powiedzieć, żeby mamy się dowiedziały, bo jest to bardzo dla nas trudne. A myślę, że dla takich mam taka pomoc, że nie będą czuły się samotne, że jest nas więcej, będzie bardzo, bardzo ważna. Bo musi nas być dużo, żebyśmy mogły coś zrobić. Jedna osoba nic nie zrobi. A to jest bardzo trudna walka. Walka z narkotykami, walka z uświadomieniem pewnych rzeczy. W Polsce w szkołach nie ma żadnych programów dla dzieci robionych. Ja bym bardzo chciała, żeby o tym było mówione naprawdę dużo, dużo więcej, bo to jest bardzo ważna rzecz.
Okay.
I dla przyszłych, nie chciałabym, żeby moja córka kiedyś w jakieś takie rzeczy weszła i no, uważam, że warto o tym dużo mówić, naprawdę.
Ich mache das ganz kurz in Deutsch jetzt. Die Renate bittet die Iga, dass sie hilft, die Gruppe zu bilden, dass sie Info weiterleitet, dass die Eltern, die versteckt sind überall, weil die einfach Angst haben, stigmatisiert sind, die zeigen sich nicht. Auch in den Gruppen, wo verstorbene, wo verwaiste Eltern sind, keiner sagt, wie ihr Kind gestorben ist, die schweigen alle, die haben Angst. Und die Renate hat die Frau Iga gebeten, da ein wenig Propaganda zu machen, sage ich mal. Ja, das ist jetzt Deutsch. Sabine, kannst du das?
Quick translation. Renata asked Iga basically to share their stories so other parents who are not able to share their stories. They had nowhere to turn and get together, because there is so much stigma and shame, and even in grief groups, and we have experienced that in Canada, even in grief groups, people can't speak openly about the reasons. So a call to IGA to please help share the stories so other families come into the light and out of the darkness.
Okay, danke. Danke sehr, Petra.